All right. Well, off and running this morning was the news from Tom Brady himself, posted on social media, that he will not be returning to the New England Patriots. As the day has unfolded, we haven't gotten a lot of clarity. Colin Cowherd, of all people, seems to be on the cutting edge of what Brady may be thinking. First, Cowherd said he has been informed Brady has made a decision, and Cowherd has subsequently said he thinks Brady is going to the Buccaneers. Now, if you pay any attention to Cowherd's Twitter feed over the years, he's in L.A., and he's got something up with the Chargers. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers didn't leak something to him just out of spite if Brady's not going there. Like, who the hell cares? We don't have any obligation to keep this quiet. We can tell Cowherd what's going on, and he can upset Tom's little party as he tries to keep it a secret until tomorrow. So I'm inclined to believe what Cowherd is saying on this, just connecting the dots from him back to the Chargers and accepting the human nature reality that the Chargers, if they're not getting Tom Brady, are probably a little pissed off.
Yeah, I mean, probably. If they were in it, legitimately, the Tom Brady sweepstakes like we thought, yeah, I'm sure they're not happy about that. Everything I'm hearing, and listen, I saw the Colin Cowherd tweet, all that, but few people I've talked to around the NFL who were in the know, they seem to think it's Brady to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's what's going to happen. That's the news that's going to be released. The big thing, and Mike, I know I've said this to you, when what I was told from the beginning with people who had knowledge of the situation was that Brady was reluctant to move out to the West Coast. The 49ers would be the only team I think he was really willing to do that for. He has his other son with Bridget Moynihan in New York City. I think he's a great father. I think he's very aware of that dynamic. Tampa certainly gives him easier access to New York City, a shorter flight. So I bet some of that plays into this. And Mike, the other thing that just tells me it's Tampa right now, let alone some of the people around the league that are telling me that, is, I don't mean to jump the ship here, but Phillip Rivers signing with the Colts, to me, is another thing that just would give me an inkling to go, oh, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers told him, something, it's not happening there. So now he has to move on. And I would believe that would be, hey, that's something as Brady's going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And we're talking a lot more about Phillip Rivers to the Colts coming up. But Brady to the Buccaneers, and I'm thinking about the bigger picture here. Florida versus California. Hey, at a minimum, not that he needs to worry about money or paying taxes. 13.3% state income tax in California. 0.0 Blutarski-esque income tax in Florida. That is a factor. And to the extent that his wife, Gisele Bündchen, wanted to be in Miami, and I think if she got to pick, she'd have said Miami. Tampa Bay's close enough, right? I mean, when you fly private, what's the difference between Tampa Bay and Miami anyway? So I agree with you. It makes sense. I don't know whether or not there's anyone else out there. I think he had a pretty good inkling what he was doing when he told the Patriots goodbye. I mean, you tell the Patriots goodbye and then there's nowhere else for you to go. That would be awkward. He probably got offers yesterday that were strong enough to let him know the Patriots weren't going to match that, so he's going to move forward. So that's step one. And it does serve the purpose of potentially scaring anyone else out of the weeds, because it's speak now or forever hold your peace if you're interested in Tom Brady. And no one else apparently steps forward, so he chooses between the Chargers and the Buccaneers. Chargers get butthurt. They tell Colin Cowherd, and it all comes out that Tampa Bay looks like the place. And look, hey, as far as NFC teams go, I mean, they're not exactly a powerhouse, and it's a top-heavy conference. Maybe they can win that division. The Saints may have something to say about it, Chris. Who the hell knows what's going to be up with the Panthers or the Falcons? But you got some really good teams in the NFC that are better than the Buccaneers.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Now, the Buccaneers, when you look at them on paper, have potential to be something. They do. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he's going to have weapons around him, a creative offensive mind, a really good defensive line and pass rush, a secondary that's young but has a lot of talent. So I do think there's potential there for that team to be one of those teams we could put an asterisk next to say, watch out for them next year, and especially if Brady goes there. I mean, awesome dynamic, right? I mean, we get to see Brady and Breeze play each other twice a year. That'll be amazing. That'll be really cool. But you're right. The NFC is definitely stronger as a conference compared to the AFC right now, too. But when you go back to like the Brady stuff and the things that we can hear, wants to be appreciated, wants to be respected. Man, I'm just telling you, Mike, and everybody out there, he's going to get that in Tampa Bay. They're going to roll out the red carpet from him. For him. They're going to treat him like a king. Tampa is secretly, I can speak from experience, is a phenomenal football town. They live and die with the Bucs. Now, not everybody might not have the cash to buy season tickets and be able to afford that all the time, but they love their Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are going to welcome him with open arms and really make him, the king of the city. That's what he'll be there in Tampa, and I'm sure he'll like that, and his whole family will like that as well.
They have had a hard time filling up the stadium, and one of the things we've discussed as it relates to Tom Brady being available to sign with any team is the business dynamic, that it will fill up the stadium, that the Tom Brady number 12 jersey in the new Buccaneers uniform that Bruce Arians told us 3 weeks ago is going to look like the one that you wore, Chris, starting in 2003, the one that the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl with to cap the 2002 season. They're going back to that. That thing is going to sell unlike any jersey that we've seen, and that elevates the brand. That restores some luster to a team that has been systematically losing it over the past 17 years. They went through 20 years of crap, and then they started to turn it around with Tony Dungy, and that culminated in the Super Bowl win of 2002. And then ever since then, what's it really been, right? Coinciding with you showing up, it's all your fault. That's when the organization started going the other. I couldn't resist. That's when the organization started going the other way, and they can't get it back. And Brady helps them get it back like that.
Yes, he does help him get it back like that. And,
I'm just playing. I know, all good. I expected it to go that way once I knew you were going down that road. But, really, ever since Gruden has left town there, and there seemed to be whatever happened between him and the Glazer family, yes, the organization has not been good, not been consistent year in, year out. And hopefully, we're re-energized by what we see by Bruce Arians. And certainly, Tom Brady going there is going to be huge news for North Florida right there in Tampa Bay. And it's a great place to live. It really is. It's a Florida lifestyle. They love their football. And you certainly can be stuck in worse places in this country. I can tell you that. And, the Browns take a lot of heat for their revolving door, but after they dumped John Gruden, it was Raheem Morris, who clearly wasn't ready at the time. He's more ready now, far more ready now than he was then. Then it was Greg Schiano, who clearly was over his skis. Then it was Lovie Smith, who was starting to show us something, but he got thrown overboard for Dirk Cutter, who clearly wasn't ready. And then they finally get Bruce Arians out of retirement. He was itching to get back to it. And now, after 1 year with Jameis Winston, that's the other side of this story for the Buccaneers. Jameis Winston is SOL, and I don't know where he's going to go, Chris, but I think he really wanted to stay with the Buccaneers, and now he's going to be on the open market, and I don't know who's going to be interested in him.
No, I don't either. I think he's a guy that, somebody's going to sign here. He's a high-level backup. He's not necessarily the kind of backup that you think, ooh, okay, he can come in here and manage the game and not make mistakes. No, he's not like that. He might make mistakes, but he has big-time superstar potential, as we know. I continue to think that the Pittsburgh Steelers would be a great fit for a guy like Jameis Winston. Big Ben can be the quarterback. If something happens there, he can come in, play, certainly be an upgrade from Duck Hodges or Mason Rudolph. And really, I think, ultimately, if you're Pittsburgh, you think, wow, well, Big Ben might only have 2-3 years left. Maybe we can mold Jameis and Winston in the meantime to take over in the end. I think ultimately, though, Winston will find a home just because his good film is just too good. He's too talented, but there is some risk to take with him, as we know.
Here's the real question. Will he accept what's offered? Because if someone's not paying him to be a starter, look, for a guy like Tom Brady, he's never holding a clipboard. Phillip Rivers, never holding a clipboard. The true franchise quarterbacks are never holding a clipboard. But Winston's had 5 years as the starter with Tampa Bay. He's made $45 million. You have to wonder if he's willing to go somewhere and be a backup, if he's willing to eat that giant slice of humble pie after throwing for 5,100 yards and not play. Or will he say, screw it, I still have baseball dreams. I'll go to the minor leagues like Tim Tebow and see what I can do there. I just don't rule out how he's going to react if at the end of the day the best he can get is an offer to be someone's backup. He may not want to do that, Chris.
Well, no, he may not, but I think that's going to be the reality of the situation of him right now. And I'm sure he's pissed off. I mean, just quite frankly speaking, he's probably looking at this going, damn, I got no, there's no more seats left here. And as much as you think of like a team like Chicago, where we hear, we think they might try to replace Mitchell Trubisky. Chicago can't bring in a guy like Jameis Winston. They need something that they feel like can be consistent week in, week out. That could blow up in their face. So, I think he's just got to find the right opportunity, just like a Teddy Bridgewater did last year. Find a team that's got some talent, and if you do get thrown in there, then you need to be in a place where you have a chance to succeed and make it happen and kind of improve your credentials and your perception around the NFL to show that, you've learned to become a better player.
Hey, you mentioned Teddy Bridgewater, and we're going to talk about him in a minute, but that spot behind Drew Brees is wide open. And if Jameis Winston wants to learn the game and get a chance to play, because Drew Brees is 41 and who knows what's going to happen to him, and all of a sudden you are out there on the field with the, I don't want to say very best, but one of the very best play callers and play designers the game has ever seen, my goodness, that's got to be attractive to Jameis Winston.
Definitely. I mean, that would be a place. If I'm Jameis Winston, I'd raise my hand and go, I'll sign for less. I'll do that right now. Like you said, he's made money. Now it's time to, just redo what, the thoughts and the perception of Jameis Winston. And a guy being around Sean Payton, being in that offense, when free agency comes around a year or two from now and Jameis Winston has been with the Saints, that'll make other teams and coaches feel better to go, hey, Sean Payton liked him. He obviously learned some football, and he would learn a ton of football there. Yes, he needs to find that type of situation, Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.